I'm Jess, Assistant Director at Saline District Library. Welcome back to our National Poetry Month mini podcast, a time to celebrate poets and poetry in all forms. Joining me today to talk about poetry is teen librarian Katie Mitchell. Welcome, Katie.
Hi, Jess. Thanks for having me on today. As you noted, I'm the Teen Services Librarian, and so a lot of what I talk about book-wise is teen lit. I wanted to mention that poetry can mean so much to teens, helping them find words to explain the emotions and feelings that come from new experiences and from just growing up.
Excellent. So tell me a little bit about the influence of poetry in your life.
Okay, so today I'm going to give you all a throwback to Katie in high school.
Uh-oh.
When I was a teen, two of the most important things to me were poetry and choir. I was the poetry editor of our literary magazine, and I was in choir the entire time I was in school. Some of my favorite poems were ones that we also ended up singing in choir. Do you know Robert Burns's A Red, Red Rose?
Yes, I've heard it.
I can hardly read this one without hearing the alto part in my brain, which mostly consisted of ooh and ah, but altos provide the harmony. This one's one of my favorites. Oh, my love is like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June. Oh, my love's like the melody that's sweetly played in tune. As fair art thou, my bonny lass, so deep in love am I, and I will love thee still, my dear, till all the seas gang dry. Till all the seas gang dry, my dear, and the rocks melt with the sun, and I will love thee still, my dear, while the sands of life shall run. And fare thee well, my only love, and fare thee well a while, and I will come again, my love, though it were 10,000 mile.
Very nice, thank you.
You're welcome. Another one that we sang was Psalm 23, and I'm mentioning that one because it's a beautiful piece, and it also highlights how Psalms literally mean sacred poems or passages. And we have an absolutely gorgeous copy of Psalm 23 in our youth department nonfiction, and I would really encourage you to check it out. Another one that we sang was Shenandoah, which is considered a sea shanty, but if you read the text without music, it's still just as beautiful. And then I'm going to leave you with one last teen Katie poetry story. I always had my journal with me, and I wrote poetry constantly. One day I had to take the bus home, which was not my preference. I was in a bad mood and not interested in talking to anyone. We got to a stop, and someone handed me a folded note and said, "Katie, you dropped this." I took the note without looking up and said, "Thanks." When I got home, I looked at the note. It had my name written on it and contained a poem by Carl Shapiro that began, "How do I love you? I don't even know. Now we're cut off again like a bad phone. Faulty communications is my middle name." To this day, I have no idea who wrote the note or handed it to me. It was a very John Hughes moment. I didn't even know what the title of the poem was or who wrote it. I actually used poets.org later in life to be able to find that.
Do you still have the note?
I think I do.
Well, yeah, you have to keep something like that.
Yeah. The last thing I wanted to say is that poetry is magical. It speaks to the soul. So thank you for letting me speak about this and to reminisce and to think of the wonder that poetry has brought to my life.
Well, thank you, Katie, for joining me and giving us some insight into the importance of poetry in your life and for teens. Join me next Friday for the conclusion of our National Poetry Month mini podcast. If you enjoyed this recording and want to hear more SDL mini podcasts, you can find them on our YouTube channel. Until next time, happy reading.